Is living in Kitchener still worth the cost? Let's find out. Right here in this video, we are going to find out how much does it actually cost to live in Kitchener as of 2025. So if you are a family who is considering a move and you're wondering how to accurately budget yourself, this video is for you. I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to get really granular with every item that needs to make a part of your household budget. And in fact, I'm going to share a real life scenario of me and my family living in Kitchener and how much some of those things cost to us, so you get that hands-on perspective. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time to this channel, be sure to subscribe and tap on the bell so you are the first to learn about the current market in and around Kitchener Waterloo. My name is Dixit. I am a local real estate agent serving Kitchener and surrounding towns, and I have people just like you who reach out to me while looking for help in making their move in and around Kitchener, and I absolutely love it. So whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. You can call me, text me, email me, or even schedule a Zoom call. All the info is right below. I'll be more than happy to help you relocate in and around Kitchener Waterloo. All right, so let's dive straight in, and we are going to start with housing that makes a major part of any household budget. Let's look at a scenario where you own a place. Assuming that you purchase something that's worth $750,000 and you pay 20% down payment and you go with a 30 years amortization. That leaves you with that $750 purchase, 20% down, which is $150, leaves you with a net mortgage of $600,000 and at 4% rate of interest. Again, rates between fixed and variable, they do vary quite a bit these days. But I'm taking the lowest rate that's available in the market right now. I think 4-year fixed and 3-year fixed are one of the lowest, and they're hovering around that 4%. To keep things simple, for the ease of understanding for everyone that's watching this, $600,000 at 4%, you're looking at a monthly mortgage payment of around $2,850 per month. Now, you might be looking at a completely different number for your particular scenario. Guess what? I will link it below in the description, a tool that I use from RBC where I punch in my number. You can do the same and it will spit out your exact numbers that are applicable to your personal housing situation. So feel free to play around with it. Now, with the housing, when you own, you will have to deal with the property taxes. Well, that's what you're looking at on an average for something that's worth $750. It's gonna be somewhere in the vicinity of $300. So somewhere between $300 to $350, we say around $3,500 to $4,000 a year. So that brings you around $300 to $350 per month in terms of property taxes. But the tip for you, if you are looking at a particular house, let's say on House Sigma or Realtor.ca, that all those websites will always have a most recent tax information for that property available on their public website. So you can punch in exact number when you're budgeting and trying to plan out your purchase for a particular home. So feel free to do that so you know exactly how much your property tax will be per month or per year. Taking a step forward, you can skip this altogether if you're planning to rather own a place, but we are going to look at some rental situation here. An average rents as of January 2025 in Kitchener, 1 bedroom was just shy of $1,800 per month. If you are looking at a 2-bedroom apartment, that's going to be around $2,140 per month, and a 3-bedroom apartment will cost you just shy of $2,600 per month. One thing worth noting, these rental amounts have come down from the second half of 2024. If you were to compare from, let's say, first half of 2024 to these numbers, you will see the rentals have come down quite a bit, partly due to the reduction in the student rental demands. And overall rental market is not doing that great across the GTA. The demand is slow. So I feel like we have reached that saturation point where the renters are giving up and say these rental amounts are just not worth it, and the demand has slowed down. But those are the average rents. Now, whether you rent or you own, you will still have to deal with the utilities. Depending on your rental, you might have some utilities included, but we are going to look at these utilities from a standpoint if you were to rather own a place in Kitchener. So take a look at some averages for natural gas, which is your heat, and hydro. That's going to be on an average $250 per month. And I'm sharing my average for my household. We are a household of 2 adults and 2 kids. So that's a 4 people household. On an average, we pay around $250 per month. And for water, it's safe to budget around $30 to $35 per person, somewhere between $120 to $140 per month. That includes your water and the wastewater by the city. And also make sure you include things like internet, security cameras. Now they have those monthly subscriptions as well. Even the things like hot water tank, right? On an average around $30 to $40 per month. So make sure you do factor in those other utilities other than the heat, hydro, and water as well. I'm going to take a step further and share my own personal utilities bill that's from my own household. And this is from the city of Kitchener that manages your heat, water, and I have my hot water tank rented through them as well. We'll take a quick glance at it. You can see this water breakdown, and right now for the last month we paid just shy of $100 for water. And if you look at the gas, that's because we are in winter months. That's where we have highest consumption of gas as part of the utilities bill, around 150, just shy of that. And then we have stormwater, which is not a big amount. And like I said, on an average, water heater rental should cost you somewhere in the range of $30 and $40. If you're paying more than that, I would say maybe give a call to your utilities company that's have rented out that equipment to you and negotiate with them, because you shouldn't be paying. I have people paying $50 and $60, and I can tell you it's not worth that much. You can negotiate with them and give it a shot. Now let's take a step further and look at the food cost. First, we have grocery. I mean, grocery bill is not gonna deviate a lot between where you're living right now versus Kitchener. But on an average 4 people household, my situation I can share with you, somewhere between 6 to 8. I can tell you in the recent past, it's hardly been $600 and more so been around that $800. So around $200 per person, as crazy as it sounds, that's what it costs in terms of grocery. Again, it could be different for you, and where you shop, what you shop, all those things. So the tip for you is to maybe, stick with what you're spending right now. It's not gonna, like I said, deviate significantly between where you're living in, say, one of the 905 suburbs to Kitchener. Your grocery bill is not gonna change. Also, don't forget to add the Costco expenses. For the last few times we have visited Costco, easily spent around $400. So not to forget your Costco expense. This $600 to $800 that I mentioned here does not include my Costco bills. So make sure you do factor that cost in as well. And that's why a lot of time when you do those budgeting, it's a good idea to maybe dive a bit deeper into your bank account or credit card statements to really see, and kind of bucket those things, those expenses, and know exactly what you're spending on each bucket in a given month on an average. Now, takeout meals, around $15 to $20 per meal. I'm talking about things like Subway or a Burrito Boys or Osmos, like shawarma, something like that, right? Nothing too fancy. Quick serve restaurant is what you're looking at. And if you rather want to take a step further, say you are celebrating a birthday party and going for a casual dining, places like Boston Pizza or Turtle Jack's, where you have like an app, main course, maybe a beer and a dessert, $40 to $50 per person. And again, a fine dine. We don't have a lot of fine dine restaurants in KWC, but on an average, it's going to cost you around $80 to $100 per person. But these are to give you some general high-level idea. Again, even when it comes to food cost, it's not going to deviate significantly from where you're living right now, even if you were to move into Kitchener Waterloo. Let's talk about transportation, getting you in and around the town once you have moved in. Car loan expense, make sure to factor that in and not to forget it, because obviously it's not going to change. It's going to stay the same, but just make sure you factor it in your budget. Gas, one thing worth noting, I see a lot of people commuting back to GTA far too often. So if you're planning to do the same, even when you move into KWC, just make sure you budget for the gas price and the gas cost appropriately, so you don't run short of gas, or you don't under budget for your gas expenses. And if you have EV, maybe just plan accordingly and factor in the charging cost for those vehicles. Insurance, I wanted to give you very high level averages. I don't want to represent a particular amount for insurance, because based on your driving records, your age, the type of car you drive, the type of coverage you plan on having, your cost of monthly insurance could vary drastically from person A to person B. So that's why, but if you were to take a look at an average, somewhere around 150 to 250, if you got clean driving record, you're not driving something that's out of the world and have some general basic coverages, I can tell you, that's how much we are paying currently for our insurance within that very range, living here in Kitchener. And yes, we do have clean driving records. And if you own a home, of course, you want to have a home insurance. It's a must, and nonetheless, you should have it. Average for that is around 80 to 130. The reason I put that average is because, again, depending on the endorsements you have, type of coverage, and how old the home, all those things could make that number change quite a bit from here, plus or minus. But that's why on an average, we pay around $100 for our home insurance living here in Kitchener. So again, maybe give a call to a few insurance companies and they will give you a quote, but it should not deviate too much unless you're living in something that's hard to insure. Public transportation, again, just want to throw out the numbers for your own reference. If you have someone in your house that plan on using the public transit, like your kids or the seniors in your home who don't drive, $3.75 per ride or $96 a month if you were to have a monthly pass. That is before any discount like student discounts or senior discounts, which may be applicable. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. How much it will cost you to spend a fun evening in KWC with your family or your friends? Well, it would really depend what you do with that time and what kind of activities. There are lots of cost-effective activities like just hitting up a local park or a playground or even public ice rinks during the winter months. All those things cost virtually nothing. But when you take a step further and partake in some fun activities, let's say indoor playground or a bowling alley or axe throwing or some of these escape rooms, all those things will obviously cost you. So if you were to take an average, about $40 to $50 per person is what you're looking at to have a fun evening, even a movie night for that matter, right? That's what you are looking at. But again, a lot of those things are kind of variable and subjective in nature. That's why I don't want to put a number to it. But the tip for you is, again, to go back to your statements and see what that costs for you. And I can tell you guys, for sometimes it could be eye-opening to see how much you end up spending on eating out and going out, things like that. And that could be a reason for you to make some changes in your lifestyle as a whole. And finally, I do want to point out to consider some of these expenses, like things like childcare cost. They are provincially managed, so they are not going to differ from where you're living to here unless you're living outside of Ontario. But just make sure you factor those in. Next thing is the uninsured medical expenses. If you have those, they will likely carry on with you even after you move into Kitchener-Waterloo. So make sure to budget. And extracurriculars for your kids or for yourself, some hobbies that you might be pursuing. Just make sure to budget for those items like swimming, soccer, gymnastics for your kids. I mean, so many things, right? But just make sure you have a particular amount in that bracket, and that's likely gonna be part of your budget. So finally, how much does it actually cost to live in Kitchener-Waterloo? Well, let's look at it. If you plan on renting, budget for around $4,000 to $5,000 per month. And if you plan on owning in Kitchener-Waterloo, budget for about $5,000 to $7,000 per month. And as crazy as these numbers sound, we are in a cost of living crisis, and Kitchener-Waterloo is no exception to that. I can tell you, living in KWC, me and my family, household of 4, we spend well over $7,000 every month, and we are very conscious with our spendings. We don't go crazy on shopping or eating out all the time, but still there is hardly any month where we are within $6,000. Mostly it does go well or slightly over $7,000 easily on any given month of the past 12 months if I were to look at it. So there you have it. That is the cost of living in Kitchener as of 2025. Now you decide and comment below whether it is still worth the cost to move into Kitchener, Ontario. But nonetheless, if you got some value, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and tap on that bell so you are the first to learn about the current market in and around Kitchener. And whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. I'm very easy to talk to. You can call me, text me, email me, or even schedule a Zoom call. All the info is right below. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move in and around Kitchener Waterloo. Until next time, well, I do hope to show you around town.